every part, man. There's always going to be bad cops, and those bad cops should be punished. We're not out here defending the actions of them fucking bad cops at all. They need justice, right? But at the same time, we can't apply the actions of just a few to everyone. I'm out here to protect your rights as well as these guys' rights and their rights. Everybody's rights. That's all I'm
Breonna Taylor was murdered. They asked him and have her the co-defendant because you know what?
You don't like him either. I understand that. Okay, we don't either. We're not here against anything else other than that. Listen, wait. The reason we were here is because we were originally at Riverfront Park. We were then moved to South Central Park, and then we were moved down here. The whole reason they did that was to keep us and them separate.
Okay? Down there. Go down there where they at.
What's that?
Go down to Central where they at. They not coming down here. We don't need this shit.
Okay, so
we don't need y'all and we don't need them. This is a place of peace. We trying to have a peaceful.
But we're gonna bounce out. We're gonna get out of your way.
Go down the Central.
Get out of your way right now. We honestly, we had no clue y'all were gonna be here.
Thank you.
We had no clue anyone else was gonna be down here.
We're not welcome.
Okay.
Let's go that way. Let's go that way.
Self-described militias are becoming a regular sight on the streets of many American cities, often dressed head to toe in military fatigues, often with firearms strapped to their chest.
We are security and we do uphold constitutional rights for people, whether that's, I tell people this a lot of the times, whether that's our constitutional rights or others.
Nick Alsager leads the group BEAR, Brothers on Equal Amendment Rights.
Do you think that's inciting, standing on the street with a...
No, because you got to remember, you have the right to hold a weapon no matter what. I think it's people making an assumption based on what they believe.
Let's all hug. We tried that earlier today. They separated.
We've seen you out in Frankfurt, in Louisville. Why does your group come out on the streets?
To make sure everything remains peaceful when they're out there protesting.
Tara Brandow is the leader of another militia that she says has over 80 members. We've seen them outside Kentucky's capital, heavily armed at rallies against COVID restrictions and on the edge of demonstrations for Breonna Taylor.
We don't want the towns burnt down. We don't want anybody shooting each other.
But law enforcement says a militia presence makes their job more difficult.
It does not help the situation. It only exacerbates the situation.
The police are doing all they can, but they got their hands tied and a lot of people against them.
Guys, we've got to keep our composure. You understand? We cannot put our hands on somebody like that.
And the increased presence of these militias has led many in the city to take precautions.
Justice! Now! We have the Revolutionary Black Panther Party who is doing our security.
Are you worried about the presence of militias in Kentucky?
I'm definitely worried about the presence of militias in Kentucky, especially since the legislative body that I serve in voted to allow people to open carry without a permit. Our legislative body has been very clear that it supports institutional and systemic racism. It's sending the message to these white militias that you're welcome here in Kentucky.
Do you think that some of these white militia groups are racist?
Well, some are, and some of the black groups are racist too. I don't vouch for either one of them.
Southern Poverty Law Center has photos of you carrying Confederate flags. Some people say that's racist.
Well, some people say it's racist, some people don't. People in my group are Puerto Rican, blacks, Cubans. I've got a mixture.
These groups so visible now that this became a defining moment of the first debate.
Proud Boys, stand back and stand by.
So you thought it did kind of speak to your group?
I think it did.
Other groups.
I think it did. And I think the reason why he said to, stand back and stand by was, he sees it the same way.
And like many, he fears the election could bring unrest.
Are we talking civil war? Because people say civil war in these groups all the time.
I think that's a possibility. I think it's probably a really close possibility. And though most people will try to make it a black and white thing, I don't think it's a black and white thing. It's a right and left thing.